things appear a bit strange always. I think in the daily life, that's why the ordinary is so important here, somehow. I confess you that the first moment that I thought in a magician, I thought in geometry. So the first moment that I decided to cut the sleeves off, I realized that I was, with a gesture, creating a certain geometry about things, about the meaning of things. And of course, if you have to construct a certain language, a certain communication, maybe the figure of the magician appeared as a possibility of tenderness to look at things. So I think there is a tenderness when you look at a magician. You also understand that there is a lot of tricks. So you understand that there is a certain technique about things, and a way that we have when we look at things with a certain domestication, let's say. This is very important, that the person that's going to participate, and of course is not a professional. We're not talking about a professional magician here. We're talking about something else. For example, here we are not really pleasing the public in a sense that we are really doing magic. I mean, the traditional way to imagine a magician working. I really tell them that they can discover things here. So what I want them is that they really feel that this place is their place, and they can live here for a while. And it's very important that they are not really paying attention in the public. Of course, they know that the public is here. There is a kind of a boundary that the public is trespassing. You know, the public knows that someone is here, that this is a place with lots of information, of lots of a certain humanity in this place. And I like that the public feels that there is a certain perversion in trespassing a place of someone. You know, that imagine when you enter a house and you see things, you see that there is a cup up there and maybe a book that someone is reading, and you see what exactly this guy is doing. Of course, this someone has the information that everybody at that moment is inside a museum, but it's the only way to construct this. That's why I like much more to describe my things as images or pieces than to really use the words that people use a lot in the glossary of art, like installation, or maybe when people think about someone in a piece of art is a performance. I much more prefer to say image, even if it brings a lot of discussion in philosophy, because there are many ways to describe the word image in philosophy or in art, but I like it a lot. I think I add much more when I find things in the place that I'm working. So I can think at the same time that I am producing the piece, that I'm constructing the piece. So it's very nice to find the questions that I find in each place that I work. So I much more prefer this. And I think this is a way to work against the idea of control or controlling. In the history of art, you have pieces that really deals with this participatory idea. And this participatory idea is really in the moment that the piece is there. I'm not talking about this here. People can donate things. Of course, it's the story of the piece. The story of the piece in a certain place. But we are not developing here a concept of participation. It's really to arrive in a place and to talk and to start constructing something. And someone will recognize something. And of course, there is a certain smile in this person that recognizes. There is a contribution. I think this is absolutely nice in a certain aspect. And I feel happy with the idea that people came and brought things for something. It's really a gesture, but we are not talking in the history of art about this participatory engagement. I already did this work in another city, and the magician completely behaved in a different manner. The first day is always different. The opening is very different from the other days because you need a little bit of time in this work to really get, let's say, the dust that falls on the floor. You really need the whole time of the piece in a certain place that the piece is in that moment. That's why I think if the public can return, like to see again the same place, and I don't know why the public would return, but maybe with a certain curiosity that I think this works has or produce in the viewer, the viewer would really find very subtle things here. I think there are differences about the world outside when we understand that we are inside a museum. If I would construct this in a different, inside of different boundaries, maybe people would say that I am mad. Maybe we need a little bit of madness. But we understand that we are talking about art, and we talk about the history of art. Is there? We are not naive, or at least we think that we are not naive. That's why there is a difference. But it's better if we don't think a lot about representation. If we think a lot about representation, we lose a lot, I think. Do you know what I mean?